So my past two videos that I did were on the microphone of this camera, and it's annoying because it's like, why does when I plug the USB splitter I have, which is hooked up to the camera, microphone, keyboard, mouse, stuff like that, into my laptop, it defaults to that as my microphone. Why? It's so annoying. Why does it do that? Um, and so yeah, my past two videos, the audio sounded horrible because it was the microphone on the camera there. Why would a camera need a microphone anyways? So, today's topic is The Martian. Book versus movie. I could do the Harry Potter books. I have the Harry Potter books right behind me, and I did read them. But it's like so many people have already done that. I have not seen someone do it with The Martian. So I first saw The Martian because I'm into space, and my stepmom knew that I was into space, so she was like, watch The Martian. I have it on DVD. So me, my stepmom, and my dad watched it, and it was really good. It was a really good movie. And I watched it a second time with my mom to show her, like, this is a good movie. I rented it on YouTube. So, then during my 35 Days of Misery, and if you want to know what I'm talking about, check out my other long-form video I posted called Where I've Been Plus Vacation. I'm not getting into in this video. So during that, I read it 3 times, so I'm able to do a book versus movie comparison very well. So let's start off with the main parts. There's a lot. So the biggest one I noticed when reading the book was that there were a lot more cursing and inappropriate themes. Like, if the book was adapted perfectly into the movie would be rated R. That's the biggest thing I noticed. I also, like, another big thing is that this isn't necessarily going to be in order. It's just going to be like what I think of first. I noticed that in the book, Vincent Kapoor was named Venkat. Like, why did they change it for the movie? I'm wondering that. And so, now let's get into the parts of the book that the movie left out. This one will be in order. So when he was trying to make liquid water using hydrogen from fuel and oxygen from... I can't remember where he got the oxygen again. I think also from fuel tanks. I don't remember. Anyway. Why am I even wearing this? It's plugged into my microphone, so I'm able to hear what I'm saying a bit, but like, why am I even wearing this? So, let's start off. Like, so when he was trying to make liquid water, he had goofed, and he didn't account for, like, hydrogen getting up and not going through the burn, and so he realized, oh shoot, the hab is filled with hydrogen. And so he just ran out to the rover and camped there for a few days, trying to figure out what to do, and he eventually figured out, okay, if I can trick the oxygen reclaimer to pull oxygen out, then I could burn the hydrogen and not have it be a fiery Hindenburg. Or else instead of where the hab is now, there would be a Mark Watney Memorial Crater. So he does that, and because there's no oxygen there, he has to obviously wear an oxygen mask, or else he would die. But because, like, the air pressure was stable, he didn't have to wear a suit, so he just wore an oxygen breather mask. And there was still an explosion, because he forgot to account with the fact that he was exhaling a little bit of oxygen with every breath. So, like, it was still fine, just like in the movie. Now, what was another thing? So there was a point in the movie where he contacts Earth, and he's like, Hey, how did the crew how did the crew react when they found out I was alive? Um, I'll just read it because I remember the page number. I'll abbreviate it as well. So, yeah, where was it? Side question, what did they say when I found out I was alive? Referring to the crew. And they said, we haven't told the crew you're alive yet. We wanted them to concentrate on their mission. Tell the crew I'm alive. What the F is wrong with you? I prefer not to say the F-bomb, so I'm not repeating it. And then he says, just like in the movie, JPL says, also, please watch your language. Everything you type is being broadcasted live all over the world. In the movie, he's like, language? And he types something, and the movie doesn't show what it was. But people were gasping, and some were chuckling. And I didn't say this book was family friendly, so there's a reason I put my videos on not for kids. Right where my finger is. Let me adjust the brightness on the camera. And no. You can't really see it, but it says, hey look, a pair of boobs, and it's parenthesis, dot, y, dot, parenthesis. It's so funny. Because it's like, guy stuck on Mars. So that was a big one I noticed. Next thing I noticed is that there was a lot, like, a lot of jokes that got cut out of the movie as well. And, like, the song Stayin' Alive was in Commander Lewis's disco collection. And he was like, oh, I'm going to do that as my theme song. That happened actually later from the next one I'm going to say. So, in the book, the airlock was more like a phone booth. It was like the size of a phone booth. And he couldn't just go out and get to the rover. He had to go out quickly, like, booking it into the collapsed hab. And then he had to get a suit and go out to the rover quickly, or else he would die. He was able to do it fast, though. And yeah. Sorry. Recording one of my last videos last night made me kind of tired. So that is what happened. That was not in the movie. No, it wasn't in the movie. It was just different. You know, I just thought of this. I forgot to mention spoilers for Martian. So spoilers. I will talk a bit about the author's other books later in this video. So spoilers for those too. But first, we're going to be talking about The Martian. So after, like, he's drilling into the holes of the other rover to use as a trailer, the movie still had that, but the book left out. Or no, the movie still had it, but it left out that in the book, the drill, he had set it to cool off, leaning it on a table that Pathfinder, aka the rover he used to communicate with Earth, was on. And that caused the rover to short out and just kill it. Like, when I say kill it, destroyed the circuit boards. Like, and as somebody who, like, knows a bit about technology and IT and stuff like that, if the motherboard is screwed, you're screwed. Like, there's one component you would not want to fail on a really expensive computer: the motherboard. Especially on a laptop, because those, you can't replace the motherboards on. Like, with a computer, desktop, you can, like, replace the motherboard. Yeah, it'll be a pain. But, like, with a laptop, if the motherboard's screwed, there's almost nothing you could do. If a chip is screwed, you could probably do some soldering. But, like, yeah. And the short circuit completely killed the rover. And he had no way to communicate with Earth afterwards. So he was like, he didn't know, uh, like he was like, well, okay, I said I was going to be doing Morse code out of rocks in case if anything happened. So that's just what I'm going to be doing. Now, from now on, like, they'll know what's happening. I'll spell out with rocks and Morse code so they know what's happening, but I won't be able to communicate with. They can't communicate with me, but they at least know what's going on. And so that's what happened. And so he was like, well, shoot, lost my only connection with Earth. And there was one other aspect I was going to bring up, but I can't remember what it was. So like after doing all that, and the movie almost completely skipped over the time from when the Hermes got to Earth and going back to Mars. The movie completely skipped over that. The book detailed it, and I can't remember what part of the movie he was supposed to leave for Schiaparelli Crater. But in the book, I remember it was Sol 400 and... Sol 3... I think it was Sol 439, if I'm not mistaken, in the book, that he was supposed to leave. But in the movie, he was supposed to leave to... he was supposed to fly up in the MAV at... on Sol 561. In the book, it was Sol 559 when he was supposed to do that. It was Sol 449 that he left in the book. Sol 400. So, I don't know why they changed that for the movie. It was a little weird. And so he was like... now, we're on to the part of the book where he's on his way to Schiaparelli Crater. Schiaparelli. I use them kind of interchangeably. So while he was there, a dust storm started to appear, and NASA could not tell him about it because no connection with him. And the dust storm was like a low-speed storm to the point where once he realized he was in a storm, like it would gradually just get harder to see and harder to see as he would go in. And so yeah, it took him a while to realize that, and he was able to figure out, okay, it is heading northeast or northwest. I gotta head southeast, so that's good. I'm gonna head a little more south than I normally would have. And then he was like, huh, because I'm a little more south than normal, if I go just a little bit extra south, take it like 3 days, I can get to the Mars rover Opportunity and get it working, get communication with Earth. But there's no point. I might as well just go straight to the MAV at Schiaparelli. Man, we really littered this planet with rovers. And I love that Andy Weir, the author, in his books, he puts like little diagrams of an important part of it. In The Martian, it's a map of the area. So, yeah. So that's Opportunity. Schiaparelli right there. This is just enlarged here. All the way here. I need a new webcam. This camera does not take good pictures. It does not take good videos. Or let's see. I don't feel like getting up from. There we go. Now, my light is on because I have a smart switch. There we go. That's a lot better. You can actually see it now. So, that's Schiaparelli. That's where he landed. I'd go all the way here to get Pathfinder. And then Opportunity here. And like the dust storm was like here. So he like was like, might as well go to Opportunity. I could go to Opportunity, but I'm not going to. I can see why they left it out of the out of the movie. There wasn't really a point to it, to having it in the movie, so they left it out. So yeah, And then once he got into the entrance of Scaparelli, the rover tipped. Like, tipped over, bam. But he was fine, he was able to get it up and running. I could also see why they cut that out of the movie, because there wasn't really a point. Then he got up into space, and, like, the movie was pretty much the same, except the movie changed something. In the book, he only had the idea of cutting a hole in his glove and propelling himself like Iron Man. In the book, he just had the idea for that, but in the movie, he actually did it. Then he didn't do it in the book, so I think the movie did a better job on that part. So now that's pretty much. Oh yeah. The part at the movie where it's him back on Earth, becoming like a astronaut teacher or whatever, don't know what it's called, that wasn't in the book. The book just ends with him on the Hermes. So that is The Martian. Book versus movie. Movie did better in some regards. Book did better in others. Now, to talk about Andy Weir's other books. The Martian was originally published in 2011, and he published a new book called Artemis in 2017. I didn't realize that. My copy of The Martian talks about Project Hail Mary at the very end. And it brings up nothing about Artemis. Like, the books. They were released Martian, Artemis, Project Hail Mary. But yet, my copy just doesn't say anything about Artemis. And so, it was only when I got Project Hail Mary that I was like, ooh, it's oh wait, by Andy Weir, Artemis. Huh. That's a book. Didn't know. So I read Project Hail Mary before reading Artemis, and I'm still reading Artemis. But Project Hail Mary, despite what some people would say, like from what I've heard people say about it, like Hank Green, I watched a quick video where he was talking about it, saying how the plot was kind of boring and how he was kind of friends with Andy Weir. Like, this is really good. I liked it. Artemis is also good. It's just it's like the middle child. So, yeah. Well, if you liked the Martian movie, read the Martian book. And then if you liked the Martian book, read these other two. And then if you disliked those, well, screw you. Oh, shoot.